This is Your News Now Sports.
When your season begins with a rivalry game that dates back to 1951, the countdown to kickoff can't pass fast enough. Columbus Grove and Pandora-Gilboa will play the 66th edition of their Putnam County Grudge Fest 2 weeks from tonight on a Thursday evening at Clymer Stadium. Today we do two-a-days with the Rockets and the Bulldogs.
Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you by Metzger Financial Services.
We split a couple guys.
After opening last season with a win over PG, their 6th and 7 meetings, the Grove Dogs went on to claim a 4th straight Northwest Conference crown and go 11-0 before a second-round playoff loss. This year, the pre-conference slate gets even tougher, replacing 0-10 Paulding with a Liberty Benton squad that went 8-3 last fall. For a second straight season, the Bulldogs must fill 6 roster spots vacated by graduated All-Ohio performers. First-team kicker Reese Veerhoff is probably irreplaceable. Second-team running back Colin Metzger was the NWC's leading scorer. Lineman Mitch Douglas and DB Luke Kaufman were also second-team picks, with Jackson Schrader and Clay Bonnell earning honorable mentions. But Grove does return 7 starters on offense, including their QB, and 5 on D, led by first-team All-State linebacker A.J. Schaefer.
We got our 3 linebackers back, and all 3 of us pretty solid, and our D-line's looking pretty good. Still working out the kinks at DB, but overall our defense is coming out strong.
Going into last year, we had not low, but not very high expectations on defense, and we had a good year, and this year the expectations are really high, and the goal is to hold up to those expectations and limit teams so we don't have to do too much on offense, because our defense is definitely the strength of our team.
Statistically, that was one of our best actually defenses in school history. It's pretty high up there on the top. So to have as many guys back as we do, that does take a pressure off a quarterback, but having that quarterback back, Brent Renner, I mean, he's really come a long way. I really challenged him at the end of the school year to take the next step, and he really did.
Last year I was a little nervous going in, but I learned along the way that the more nervous you are, the more mistakes you make, and mistakes aren't good. And this year, not as nervous as I was last year. I feel like I have a pretty good handle of this offense.
5 miles up Route 12 at Pandora Park, the Rockets aren't just preparing for their arch rivals, but for a pre-conference campaign that sees them also play 2 other neighboring schools with home dates against Bluffton and Lipsick. They're plenty hungry, having dropped their matchups against Grove and Bluffton, as well as league neighbors LB and Macomb a year ago. Matt Hershey's Rockets only graduated 5 players from that 6-4 team that missed the playoffs by just 1 spot. Amongst the 50 young men that will don the PG helmet this fall are some talented and experienced players at the skill positions. Receiver Aiden Morris was 3rd-team All-Ohio as a sophomore last season. Add in a pair of 2nd-team All-Blanchard Valley Conference performers in wideout Colin Harris and running back Ethan Luganbill, and the job of a first-year quarterback gets a little easier for Rockets junior Carson Meyer.
Surrounded him with a lot of great players. Aiden being an all-state receiver and Colin Harris being an all-league receiver, and Ethan Luganbill led the league in rushing last year. So we have weapons around him. We don't need him to do too much. We need him to be able to manage the game and get the ball into our playmakers' hands. And as coaches, for a new quarterback, we have to try to set the game plan up so for him to be successful.
It definitely helps having guys who know what they're doing out there, and it takes a lot of stress off of me being a first-year player. Those guys, I can trust them. I know what they're going to do. And definitely gives a lot of stress off.
These past couple of years have been kind of mediocre for us, and this year I think we have a very good group that can definitely take us a lot farther. I hope I, of course, do well in everything I can possibly do, but I'm hoping our team does way better than these past couple of years, and we have the potential.